And I'm Hasina checking in from Newcastle, South Africa, where it's totally freezing. And coming out of 2 hours of load shedding, I am grateful for all forms of heat.
Okay.
I'm Annelies from Vreeland, checking in a rainy Netherlands, and we had some thunder to start the morning with. Very, very local. So my front was wet of the house and the backyard was dry. It was very funny. Yeah, I'm recovering. My body is recovering from an intense week of waving love in Chartres. And I'm coming home to, well, a beautiful place and sensing that the gifts of Chartres are after this week. So I'm unpacking all kinds of things. And in the meantime, it feels like rush hour, but well, I walk in there and I'm okay. And I'm grateful to see you. And I'm not opening up too much now. Newness, because my focus is totally on the Mad Hatter Summit on the August 12th. So just to bring that
in. Juliet, coming in from Cork, Ireland, and my son and 2 grandchildren arrived last night. We'll be here for 6 weeks, which will be great. And other children coming and friends coming to stay and going. So the beginning of a full summer season, but also really taken aback this week. Not aback, just blown open, I suppose, starting with Sri Aurobindo's focusing on how the human, the Homo sapien, moves from the rational mind and from the thinking mind to the opening to direct knowing. And then so many incidences and listening and reading and experiencing over the last few days have just been extraordinary in feeling how this is the time it's happening, that we can move, that what's been impeding us has been being stuck in the rational. It's limited us. The stuck in the rational reasoning mind, the thinking mind, and how we need to break through that to get to the next level. And that's been really an amazing journey. Thank you.
I'm Brian from Krakow. Nice to be with you all. And not much to report. My exhibition completed, and my artwork is back in our home, except for my newest sculpture stayed with the hosts. So very happy that it found its place. I'm also going to place in the chat, if it will copy, a beautiful, I believe it's a Sufi comment on sadness, and it's a beautiful way to hold that experience. So let me just see if I can put it there. If not, I will put a link for you to read it yourself.
Here is Amélie from Holland. I'm in the middle of the woods in my little summer house. It's all surrounded with trees and sunshine. I'm heading off tomorrow to a spiritual woman festival attended by 500 women, where I am going to lead a ceremony on Saturday night on grandmothers' fields and grandmothers and the whole mother line healing for all women attending there. So I'm preparing myself. That means that I'm in silence and praying and fasting, but suddenly I had the urge to still attend the meeting because I can feel you all. I can feel you. Thank you for that.
Thank you all. My name is Sabine. I'm in Cologne. I go through a lot of different vibrations and feelings, and I do have sort of a holiday, but I work a lot, and I'm dealing with guilt feelings if I don't work, and also the fear of what's coming if I don't work, since I am a freelance musician, artist, healer. And this pressure is again chuk, 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 coming. And so it's this twist of allowing myself to rest, allowing to enjoy life, and at the same time doing my work. And this component that I have since I'm working, since my young age, which maybe Brian knows as well. I guess you're also a freelance person. So all those who are freelance, Amelie as well, not having somebody to tell you what to do, but to have to put it up to, it comes from yourself, but it has to come for yourself. So otherwise nothing happens. And yeah, this is like a pressure, and sometimes I'm sad about this. And this is what I felt this morning, really like, why am I in this? And then I decided to change my morning routine, which normally is doing my gymnastics and everything. And I decided I'm going to dance and sing and listen to my music. And so, and I felt how good that was, just to step out of this mind, like you said, Juliet, but to go into another vibe. So this was really beautiful. I just started to sing, and I took my piano and I played, and I was like, oops. And I felt how thin the layers are, like as if this piano was really like coming in very strongly. I'm still a bit shaky. I'm very thankful to meet you all because I really missed it. It feels like family, it feels like home, and I really appreciate so much our sharings here. And yeah, thank you very much for being here with us and being here together.
Kamala checking in from Kefalonia in Greece. I had logged in 5 minutes before the call started, and Hasina knows my computer's been doing strange things lately. And initially I was a little bit irritated, and then I turned off the computer and logged in with my phone. And then my husband came out and wanted me to do stuff for him. And I suddenly realized that, as always, there is a divine purpose. I was meant to be on my phone so that I could listen to you while I was doing other things and feel the warmth of the welcome. And now I can sit out in my garden and I can show Juliet my flowers and do all of the things that I wouldn't have been able to do if I'd been sitting there being irritated by my computer not working. So I'm going to turn my camera around for a second just so I can show Juliet. So that's jasmine, and there's a rose bush that the jasmine's weaving through, and more roses, and more roses, and a huge bougainvillea that's just been trimmed. So that's a real look into where I am right now, is that I get to be surrounded by all of this beautiful nature, and I get to do my call outdoors this week, and yeah, just ground myself a little bit differently and see what it feels like to not be stuck in the usual rut of the way that I've always done things.
Malin, would you like to check in?
Yes, hello everyone. Lovely to be back. Yeah, I'm feeling wonderful. The sun is shining. I had a beautiful breakfast and was able to sleep in today. So I'm really happy, camper.
That's
And I'm
beautiful.
really curious to hear of Annalise later. Her trip. Mhm.
Well, I think we'll have time, Annalise, if you feel like sharing later on, we'll probably will have time. But I'm going to check in for Anna Marie because she has an event on, and she just wanted you all to know she sends her love. So, yes, in her absence, just sending her love back.
Do you want to record this?
It's recording.
It is.
Oh,
Sabina.
sorry, I'm sleeping.
No. Hey, I'd rather someone reminds me than I forget to record. It feels as if there's been a shift, not generalizing, but for most of us in the group, whether it's literal or metaphorical or intellectual, like mindset, perspective, all of that, which is really beautiful how the energy is just shifting. So I feel like I'm just going to open up the space. I would like to go into the 99-day missions, not as an obligation, not as a responsibility, but just as a sharing when we'd like to share. But let's first open up the space, and if anyone wants to comment on anything that was said or feels a certain way, then please bring it into the space.
I'll just comment that I did post this quote that was on Facebook, and it's in the chat, and I realized that it was too long to post in one posting, so I broke it into two. And it was very good to read today for me. So I share it as something that may be of benefit for each of you as well. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. That's so beautiful. Maybe what we should, yeah, if anyone wants to copy this or copy the link that Brian sent, then just do that in the chat. I don't know how it will work with us being the Hague Center's Zoom, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to, okay, maybe I will be able to save this. Yes. Okay. Sabina, I just wanted to say to you, I understand those feelings of the, you know, the guilt and the, like I'm supposed to be working. And I don't know if anyone else feels that sometimes, but what's happened for me for the most part is that I realize that when I'm feeling really good, I'm so creative and so productive that I've realized that's what I need to do. Just get feeling good instead of having it as a chore, and work when I am feeling that good, because I get 3 times as much done as, having it as a chore. So yeah.
Yeah, I want to pick up on that one because to me it's also as a autonomous worker, is how I call it, partly dependable on that income. I feel that when it starts to be work, it's narrowing me. And the great opening to me has been also in World Unity Week, but that was very condensed in a way, or in a tightened way, because we work so hard, so the reflection time was a little bit less. I see in the process when I work with the Mad Hatter Summit and Taste of Wonderland that if I open and I be in this emergent living state, that I do this alone, and that it comes to me, that I felt that I really was, the word in Dutch is scheppen. I was creating with Source. So Source put the opportunities in front of me, but I had to watch closely to see them. And in the beginning, I made the wrong choice. Then I wanted to do alone, or I wanted to grab it first. And it's very funny that we're in an international team, but we're also in a wonderful team locally with Sabine, who is looking in a way to me that, well, anyway, I see there something, and Amélie is in the team also. And the interesting thing is that what happened in the big team, I see back in the small team. So there's so much synchronicity. So I'm very, very, I try to be as open as possible, and also be mindful of my words, especially after Chartres. And be this channel for the creation, and that it will all fall in place at the right moment, at the right place. And trust in that. And yeah, I can only do that because I know I'm surrounded by the energies of beautiful souls who all stepped in for their own reasons. And yeah. But this to hold is sometimes, because this morning I felt very, very tired, and Monday morning I felt very, very tired. And then I thought, then I want to go through that in a way. It's difficult to hold, but I still feel that, okay, be with the tiredness, and also be who you are inside. So who is also there. And well, it's a journey. I feel this is the journey, and I feel so resonating with what you said, Juliet, about this is the moment that it's, if I go out of that way, that really I get so many gifts. There's so much falling in instant knowing. So yesterday I had a beautiful day. Just to there was a girl I was very close to, because she's have mental illness issues, not recognized as spiritual issues, and she was in a hospitalized situation with medicine, and she's out, and I had not seen her for a month. She lives in nature now, and I could see what nature did to her. There was someone opening the door. Her eyes were glancing at me, and she hugged me and said, "Oh, I'm so glad to see you." So this was this movement forward. It made my heart sing. And he said, "I have a little gift for you, and I want to thank you." And then, oh. And yesterday there was suddenly another person who said, "I have a gift for you." And then, oh. Well, so these little things that life has, these surprises that you really think, oh, okay. So I do not know how to say that. It's so it's like mirroring back what was mirroring out, and that we're all learning when we're not in this place where we can hold that or feel guilty or feel not safe, or oh my goodness, I had so much resistance in Chartres. I thought, oh my, why do I have to be so devotional all the time? Devotional for the Maria? I'm not getting it. What's going on? Okay, the Black Madonna then. Yes, okay. The Black Madonna is from the people. The church sent her down in the crypts of Chartres because the people were looking at the Madonna, Black Madonna, and not at the priests who were not listening. But I continued doing everything what we were creating, noticing that every time I had to click again. So it was like an enormous love contraction where every time I could, open up to that again. And the beauty is in the cathedral, because there's so much energy. The Druids originated this cathedral because it was a very high energy place. So I start saying something now about the request of Chartres, and if that's okay, I say a little bit more. So the beauty is that 90 people came together, creating waves of love. All are, in a way, light beings. All are drawn to the mystery school to bring. And this year, I felt I'm not only here to get something, but I'm also here to bring something. And that was synchronicity for a lot of people. And we last year was very, very high energy, very, very mystical in the sense that I felt, well, lifted all the time. But that was not this time. We were very on the earth. So we started at 7:30 in the cathedral, where we had an hour to sing our mantras, to greet the day. We had movements with Chloe Goodchild. So this is the doing thing. It's hardly to describe in words what happens when a group of 75 women and 15 men, beautiful men, open up to a circle and sing Om together, or sing. It's amazing. You can feel, you come in as it's very early in the morning, and you come out and you think, what kind of a shower was that? So beautiful. So yeah, what I saw as overall opening up to was that there were 15 men, and when we went by ourselves in the evening, we had one evening to enter the cathedral and walk the labyrinth. Then this amazing, everyone gets his chance to go inside, is cleared, can go to the middle, really ask for in the way up for what we want to receive, what our question is, but really ask. And I had asked for clarity. What is mine? Is this energy always from the other? Because I always think that you guys are all the energy, and that you are the clairvoyance, and that you are, well, have arrived, you are these beings, and I'm not. So I'm more like the I'm also there, the grounder. So I wanted to know what's mine and what's yours and what's, well, in the first step I started crying, and in front of me was someone I saw very heavily crying. I said, oh, not mine, it's hers. Okay. So I thought it's reversed. And then I could very, very lightly walk and open up to my energy. And since then, every time I met someone, I said, oh, really, that's your, and that's your, and I got all these little answers that I ask in the labyrinth just after. So they said, oh, no, you know this, and it's an inner knowing, and you're, so my outside world was telling me, and I knew, okay, these are the gifts of the labyrinth. But the beauty of the overall labyrinth walk was, there is one Sufi dancer amidst us, and she starts swirling the love. She's been asked 5 years ago by the cathedral to do that, to bring swirl to the labyrinth before all the chairs were on the labyrinth. It's by this group, the Wisdom School of Ubiquity University, grounded 17 years ago by Jim Garrison. So Jim Garrison is a man who said, okay, I heard a dream of a shaman, and the shaman had said, honor female leadership. That's what you have to do, and do that through the Wisdom School of Chartres. So he took over this initiative, what was already happening there for 17 years ago. And now we could see this, all these men are in his slipstream coming. And while we were walking the labyrinth, all the women started first. The men gave space to the women. These 15 men, as it was not asked of them, they came in last. They walked the labyrinth at last. They were making the space. And then Banashev, the Iranian Sufi dancer, came in at last. Well, I think it's allowed that I put a little film in our WhatsApp group about that. Then you can see how amazing that is when she starts to dance as a flower, as a butterfly in the middle, and what that does. One big event was also the gathering around the mother tree, who was in Chartres, also found by shaman. And there it was so clear. I totally resonated with the energy of the tree, and I got the answer. You are the servants to Mother Earth. You serve. You are, you are a vibration of Mother Earth. And that was so gifted. So I can ground, and I'm more laid back, and I do not know how to say that. There was a shaman from an Indian woman from North America, and she was giving herself this as a birthday present, and she said, I cannot have my birthday in my own country because I'm recognized by everyone. And we did not know who she was. And so she could be there autonomous. But of course, all her energy is shown through her. So she was such a powerful woman. And she was very big. And I saw her field like, wow. And I always try to be small again, because 20 years ago I was small. And then suddenly it really took me and said, okay, own your bigness. Stand in that bigness. Well, this is what I try to live with now. And this is both personal, but of course, this is all about microcosmos, macrocosmos, owning our being here. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. And the last thing is we had Chloe Goodchild. She was our sound healer, teacher, brought us to our inner voice, to her devotional voice. Well, that was a little challenging for me, but I managed. I can be devotional too now in my singing. And and of course, to the universal voice. I think coming home to your inner voice, there is some change in my voice, and I cannot say what, but it's more. And I'm a former speech therapist and voice therapist, but this has opened up something totally different. Just by doing it. So yeah, so sometimes we have to go through to get to receive gifts while not immediately seen. And I know Anna Marie always says this, and this is also why I love that this group has started. I know it has been starting earlier, and that I was later in, as some of us are, but that it established this way of making something happening, what you do not see yet, but that it's coming out of there. And it is actually a beautiful metaphor also for, well, what we are doing in these 99 days, and also from Chartres. And I hope it will be also for the Mad Hatter Summit, whatever, how big or how small it's going to be. Okay.
So beautiful. I can definitely identify with what you said, coming home to your inner voice. I think that was so powerful, Annelies. So thank you so much for sharing. That happened for me during World Unity Week. And then you own it. You step into who you are fully and powerfully, and it's wonderful. So yeah, thank you.
I'm also feeling very much that energy of finding voice again. For the last 2.5 years, I've been very quiet, living in a country where I don't speak the natural language. It's been difficult to express myself and do all of the things, because in South Africa I was used to being a very loud voice in my community, on TV, on the radio. Just, I always had that confidence, and coming into a space where, I was never sure if the person I was speaking to was going to understand what I was going to say, I lost a lot of that loudness about myself, that expressiveness, that openness somehow just shrank into this tiny little ball. So, on the one hand, I can relate to that whole wanting to be small, because I've put on like 10 kilos in the last 3 years. But on the other hand, there's this inner shrinking that just wants to explode out into expression. And World Unity Week and being part of this group has done so much for me in terms of freeing up that inner voice again, of being able to communicate and share my passions and be able to just speak again. And yes, that unfolding is quite a liberating process, knowing that wherever I find myself in the world and whatever's going on in my immediate surroundings, there's always going to be a bigger picture, a place where my voice has purpose, where it can be heard, where I still make a difference on whatever level. And I think we all need a little bit of that in our lives, just that not from a place of self-importance, but from a place of service, that we are doing something in some way to make the world a better place. And I think that's what's been missing for 2.5 years now, of being isolated. And like you were saying, Sabine, trying to focus on the work, because I'm also a freelancer, and just that daily grind of making sure there's a roof over our heads and food on the table can be a little bit soul destroying, no matter how much you love what you're doing. So this is my piece of sanity on the side that allows me to just find that space that I need for my soul to thrive. And I thank all of you for being part of that process of giving me, or not giving me, but helping me to find my purpose again.
I want to point out another aspect where the poem of Brian of Sadness is very welcome, because also I want to tell this to Sabine and all helpers and healers, and there is where we have been developing our skills for helping other people, whereas it started from a very lonely place. And this loneliness inside is now also from this uniting us and finding souls who recognize us and me and you, Sabine, and Camilla and Brian and Juliet and Melina and Asina, Annelies, all of you. I don't have the whole screen. Whereas we have to find a deeper key with the pain and sadness of where we were alone all that time, where we were not recognized and getting these gifts back, parents, grandparents, friends, school, everywhere. This glimpse of our soul, what was always there as being a light worker, a helper, someone who wanted to make the world a better place. And there in this moment of time is now to have a sort of digesting this pain, this loneliness, and opening up to really know you're not alone anymore. And this is different from the place where we were always doing it from the source above, or connecting with the source and the help from angels or God or whatever you call it. This is the earth connection, what we have as human beings. We are a species born where we cannot survive without others. As a baby, someone has to hold us, have to give us milk. And in a spiritual way, it's the same. You cannot go on to do this work now without the milk of us, of other humans who see you, who understand you, who give you also love. So it's to find a place where you can open up and let it come in and receive from others, to really connect. That's hard work, heart and heart. In a double meaning. Amen.
Thank you, Amelie. I really relate to the loneliness, because this is really a source of what I was speaking in the beginning. So
I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that, Sabine.
having to do it alone. And I'm filled with feedback from all over the world, so that's not the topic. And I should be on my knees for all the feedback I get, but there comes the guilt again. And so it's a very tricky thing. But what I like about Annelies as well, that I have phases where I feel so strong and so connected and so really like the world is fully there with and in me and everything. And then comes these waves again. And then for me, it's a learning process to deal with these waves where I feel that I'm a little bit in now, but maybe in an hour I'm out of it. And this here I am is there again to continue to weave. And yeah, so it's learning to deal with all these feelings from another quality, from another, how you say it, van een andere state, from another state.
Perspective.
And yeah, I have the feeling that we get all these challenges and all these old pains and all these, like you said, loneliness. It wants to come out because it wants to be freed and it wants to be healed. So yes, allowing that it is there and to see it and say, okay, I'm feeling lonely. Or I see the loneliness. Maybe that's even better. But I stay aligned and I don't dive into this depression of, ooh, how do I get out of this? Yeah.
Sabine,
Yeah, maybe
while you
not
were
always,
speaking,
not always to get out of it, but to go in.
Yeah.
while you were speaking, Sabine, I remembered I heard once something about Schumann, which helped me in my earlier days. So Schumann was manic depressive, but Schumann said later, being this little depressive, it's like that dip that gave you the energies, right? Almost like a roller coaster. When he came out, he could write, compose, and do whatever he wanted, because then he was in such a high that he did not care what others were saying about his work. And I think that was so important for me, because then you can be you, I can be me, and we can be us. That is when we create without having the judgment of anything else, right? That's the moment of no judgment, the no mind. And then you can create and write what, or sing, right? What you desire. So that helped me to look at that, oh, the dips, and I looked forward to those dips, because it was like a refinding, pooling, letting go, purging on a computer. And after a while, you'll notice you won't fall. I mean, it's not a falling. The dips come from a different level, and then they will even catapult you much, much higher than ever before. See, then it becomes this beautiful thing. Naja, that helped me once to look at like that one time.
Thank you. Just to pick this moment, because this is in essence reimagining mental health. We always see it from there's something missing. This is also what Brian says. Bow to the sadness, because the sadness will seize or bring something itself. And also, if we see it as something which is not worthwhile to be with, then we cannot collect gifts. And this is what we're doing in the Taste of Wonderland, collecting the gifts of what we think is mental health now, but what if it's an evolutionary shift we're making? And these are the first signs of that. It's in the, well, we call it manic, but it's in the magic probably. And there's one little one I came across, but it's not. It's more like fun. If we change the I in we, then illness becomes wellness. I like that too. So, you knew that probably.
That's so beautiful what everyone's saying. So this morning, every morning I listen to Abraham Hicks, and it's just it's something I really enjoy. And this morning, as I was listening to a little clip, one thing that
Sina's
came.
frozen.
Mm.
Oh, is it my internet? Can you hear me?
Now, yes.
Oh,
Now you have to repeat what you were saying. You froze.
okay, I'll do that. Maybe that's part of the contrast, right? And it's all necessary. But yes, I listened to Abraham Hicks in the morning, and this morning was this message about how imagine or these contrasts, you know, the darkness is so necessary for the light. It's just like we've all been talking about. I mean, the cocoon is the birthplace of, you know, it's the growth, the assimilation and everything. Then we go out, you know, as the butterfly. So what they were saying was, as we experience a contrast, we know that, you know, our asking when we align, we're just going to experience, Malin, what you were describing, you know, that creativity and so on. Now imagine collectively that they were saying we look at things that are dark in the world right now and we're thinking, okay, it doesn't look good if you were to just look at it. However, what if we look at this as the darkness, that place, and I'm going to describe it as the cocoon, and there is so much collective energy with love and so on. What if we come out and this is the coming out into the light? Like, can you think that amount of contrast or the light that it's going to be? So we get to step out into the light, and just tying it together. Brian, you were talking about you know, the sadness. I was writing this down as you were all speaking about the gift of grief, you know, that is the contrast, the darkness. And now is the time for tribe, where we get to, Emily was saying how we get to be the milk or for each other. We get to be that nourishment, and we can all be that, and we're not alone. So it's just a recognition that we don't have to do it alone. Yeah, so that's beautiful. So thank you. Juliet, I don't know if there's something that you'd like to say. I was looking at the time, and I know that there might be something you want to say.
Yeah, I think it's all very exciting. I've just posted a link to one of the interviews that I found quite phenomenal this week. It is with Deepak Chopra, and I guess he's a physicist. He's a professor at a university. It's maybe he's more mathematical. I'm not sure, but just talking about the agents of consciousness that they're now finding in science that's leading the way to show that in fact we're not, time space is a complete illusion. So everything that is really linked to our thinking mind, that the thinking mind has been a tool that we've had to take us this far. But it's the mind also that traps us into the thoughts that bring us down, the emotions that are tied to the thoughts, all those things, because we're thinking about what we think should, or what we think is, but how it's really all an illusion, and we're all light beings, and it's a matter of just shedding the rational mind and all the thinking, all the kind of, and that's to me been very tied up with my mission with the rock elders and the stone elders had given me, you know, to try and help transmute this energetic sludge that is coating the earth from millennia of human thought and emotions, behaviors, aggression, war, domination, violence, etc. But then realizing the more I do that, that actually it's a clearing of my own energetic sludge from the thinking mind, because that thinking mind seems to be now an agent of creating that heavy sludge that we're all wading through, because that's what actually triggers aggression, domination out of fear. That, you know, all the stuff that comes from fear is from a thinking mind, and the thinking mind thinks it's separate than the others. So this concept now, and Deepak Chopra actually has done quite a few, I looked up a few of his things saying about climate change, that this is really a call. The whole solution is in consciousness. It's not going to be fixing stuff through the rational. You know, we see the problems that we want to fix through the rational mind, the emissions, you know, that are rising, the loss of biodiversity. You know, of course, there are things we have to do. Absolutely, there's no denying that. But it only comes from the changing of the consciousness that then will drive a new way of being, and not this mental. Constantly think, because the mental mind, the thinking mind, is grounded in time space, which is necessarily out of duality and separation. Anyways, sorry, I might be rambling, but anyways, I put a link which I thought was very inspiring. Thank you.
Where did you put the link, Juliet? Oh, you're muted. You muted, Juliet.
Sorry, I see. I only sent it to you, Carmilla. Would you be able to I don't know how to forward that. Would you be able to forward to the whole group?
I'm not sure if I can figure it out.
Okay,
on my
don't worry
phone. I
then.
haven't
Don't
used
worry
Zoom
then.
on my phone before.
I'll look meeting group chat. Okay, so I'll just paste.
Let's see if I can do that.
Yeah.
Has that gone through now?
No.
Yes, it has.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. And Anneliese, I'd love it if you put that Dutch word in the chat, the one where you said it was about connecting with source. I'd love to know that.
Help me out here a little. What was the Dutch word?
You said it was something to do with connecting with source. That's what I got. And if you can't think of it and I misinterpreted, then don't worry about it.
Yes, I know again. It's scheppen. Scheppen. So, yes, just to highlight it a little bit, it's like you're with this mental aspect out of it. And I set this intense. I ask for some things. And I just happened to know on the way, my goodness, it's here. I asked for it, it's already here. I did not have to do anything for that. And then I think, of course, oh, that's because of Amélie. Oh, that's because of Sabine. Or that's because of, and now I think, oh no, I'm creating, we are this field, and and I'm not doing this alone, but it's just recognizing the signs and seeing, it's already there. So how do I keep this space open so that it can fall in even more and even quicker, so that I can see that and that I pace up with that? But it feels like, and it's different than creating, because creating is more like really, it's more like you, what's the word in English? Schep. It's like you digging
an effort.
The English word is digging, but it's even not digging. It's more like it comes and you see it and you work with that. That's it.
Okay. Looking at the time, I'm just thinking that if we could all have a wonderful checkout with just maybe a sentence or 3 words or whatever that's coming to you, just a very short checkout, And I think maybe we'll start with Brian, and if you want to go a little longer, because you've also not, if there's something that you'd like to contribute.
Thank you. I appreciate all the sharing from each of you, and yeah, it warms me. I'm a visual artist, so I was imagining my sculpture of the grieving man when I was in deep grief, and how it relieved me because the grief was transmitted from within into a stone, that I could feel the weight of it and see it. And so these transformations that are in all of our lives right now are just a beautiful awakening process. And sometimes it's with a lot of sadness, especially as we're letting go of personal identity. We're no longer the caterpillar. We're already in that mush. And I was looking avidly for this cartoon because the caterpillar is asking this butterfly, how did you create those wings? And the butterfly says, the wings were already inside of me. Okay, I'll leave it there. If I do find that little cartoon, I will post it in our group.
I'm sorry, I have to go. I hear all the children stirring downstairs.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say thank you. I love you. It's so beautiful to be with you. So happy to see each of you, and thank you.
Huge. Yes.
Thank you.
Bye, Julie.
I also have to leave.
Right. I guess we're complete then. Thank you.